Thanks, Joseph. Ugh, an unexpected, unpleasant holiday error, and it's costing some Minnesotans hundreds of dollars.
This is the one time I did not double check the snow emergency rules on the website, and I chose the wrong side of the street.
Oh, that's
Such a
bummer.
Feeling for Anna. She's one of many taking a trip to the impound this week. Crews have towed more than 900 cars during snow emergencies in the Twin Cities. St. Paul's is still active. The Minneapolis snow emergency that ended today. As always, you can find the rules for where you live at wcco.com/snow emergency.
Overnight, millions celebrated the new year around the globe. As we rang in 2026, we're also looking back on 2025. It was a year full of big moments, but also a year full of big loss.
Yeah, Pope Francis, Hollywood legend Robert Redford, the man responsible for bringing professional wrestling into mainstream culture, Hulk Hogan. They're among the notable entertainers and leaders we lost this year. Here's a look back. Really stinking cold, and it's a little bit of a repeat of days past because we're getting more snow today, Joseph.
Yeah, snow in the morning. It's just been the theme for the last like 3 or 4 days, and it hasn't been a lot, but you've noticed over the last couple of mornings that it's enough to maybe slow down things and cause some traffic. So if you happen to be heading out today through the morning hours, basically now till about 11 a.m. or so, you may be dealing with some snow, and it's been coming down north and west of us and even down to the east. So we're kind of in a bubble right now. We're kind of avoiding it around Hennepin County. Temperatures single digits below zero up north. Cary showing off in Eagan at 10 degrees right now. Highs today topping off about 13, so we're not going to get much warmer than where we're standing right now. I basically mentioned every direction from the cities is getting some snow, for the exception of south and southwest. So if you're going down towards Mankato into the Minnesota River Valley, you're missing out on this one. This is going to be along the 94 corridor and basically areas north all the way up to about Duluth and some of the counties up to the north, and then into the Minnesota Bluffs right there, or the Mississippi Bluffs, I should say. And that's going to be where this line of snow continues to track for the morning. All right, so if you're down southwest, you're not going to get much more than what you already have on the ground right now, because this is going to dodge you. Snow depth today, these numbers update each morning and into the afternoon, so waiting on some updates, but many of you see probably double digits as far as snow depth goes on the ground because we've had multiple rounds of snow recently. This system right here is probably going to throw down another ½ an inch to an inch to the snow depth around the area, and not anything significant. I have no heavy hitting snowstorms coming up, but we have these kind of nuisance storms, we'll call them. Tomorrow morning, though, I will be saying we're cutting it off. And I don't have anything in the forecast for our Friday. It looks like it's going to be on the dry side as we work through our Friday forecast. As I mentioned, generally about less than an inch in the forecast with this system moving on through. We warm up nicely for the weekend, up to about 27 on Sunday with another chance for some snow around here. It's also going to be on the low side. And then we clear it all out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at that. Ladies, in the 30s, 32 degrees Monday, but mid-30s with sunshine on Wednesday.
Those concerns come after we told you the Trump administration pledged to cut off $185 million in child care payments the state receives annually. Our Connor White takes a closer look at how it could impact Minnesota families.
On the last day of 2025, child care providers gathered at the Minnesota State Capitol, afraid they won't survive long in the new year.
We work hard, and it's just not fair.
Monique Stuman is responding to the Trump administration's pledge to freeze about $185 million in child care funding for Minnesota, demanding an audit of daycares facing fraud allegations and justification for further payments statewide.
We're committed to holding bad actors accountable.
The federal government is seizing on claims in right-wing YouTuber Nick Shirley's viral video, which alleges nearly a dozen Minneapolis daycares are committing fraud. WCCO found inconsistencies in that video, visiting a daycare this week with at least a dozen kids in attendance that the influencer claimed was empty.
It is affecting my staff. It is affecting my families. They have to go to work. If we're not open, what are they going to do?
Stuman's Minneapolis daycare, called School Readiness, is not facing fraud allegations and is not included in Shirley's video. She says she'd only survive a month without federal funding. The same goes for other providers at Wednesday's rally who say the feds are unfairly punishing their clean operations. Are you confident, based on your work in this chamber, that there is not any widespread fraud going on?
You know, it's very difficult to prove a negative.
DFL Rep Carly Katiza-Wattoon co-chairs the Children and Families Committee in the State House. She says they take fraud allegations seriously, but says other daycares shouldn't suffer as investigations continue.
Fraud prevention is about policy and not politics. It's about solutions and not spectacle. But everything that we've seen from the federal government this week is about politics.
Connor White, WCCO News.
In a statement, the Republican co-chair of that committee, Representative Nolan West, says this is a consequence of a series of fraud schemes Minnesota is grappling with.
He says in part, quote, "I hope the Walz administration finally cooperates with the federal government rather than fighting it to process payments quickly for legitimate providers." The state attorney general's office is exploring whether the Trump administration's promised freeze and demands attached to that freeze are legal.
Meanwhile, we are hearing from the creator behind the viral video that sparked what the Homeland Security Department is calling a massive investigation. The YouTuber, Nick Shirley, answered questions from a CNN crew in town working to verify his claims. Take a listen.
Surely, you are going to say this is a left or right issue? Just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a daycare. It shouldn't be a reception. No, every daycare is locked.
Their doors are locked.
And so, okay, you bring up a fair point. Then why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child? How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true? How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis. We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true? Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
In the midst of these allegations and investigations, a Somali-run daycare in Minneapolis says they were broken into early Monday.
They claim vandals stole information of children in their care. WCCO's Frankie McLister spoke with employees about what happened and who they say may be to blame.
just after 3 a.m. on Tuesday.
As you can see, they used some kind of force to break in right there.
Nokomis Daycare Center says security footage shows someone breaking in.
Who wouldn't be worried? So we are getting to the bottom of it.
So this is the space that the daycare center says vandals were able to get into their building. Through this hole right here, that's a cinder block wall that has been breached. Behind us, there's a door that has saw markings, but it seems like vandals were unsuccessful in getting in that way.
Unfortunately, we saw that there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also employee documentation that was gone.
On Tuesday, the federal government announced it's halting all child care payments to the state of Minnesota, while they investigate fraud claims at nearly a dozen Minnesota daycare centers featured in a now viral video by YouTuber Nick Shirley.
We're committed to holding bad actors accountable.
Nokomis, who was broken into, wasn't featured in the viral video. According to the Minnesota Department of Human Services, Nokomis Daycare Center remains in good standing and only has few minor violations since it opened in 2016. Now they're worried they'll be punished.
This will impact thousands of people. People will lose their jobs and hold their homes
for the crimes of others.
Those who are committing fraud need to be held accountable. We can do that without terrorizing a whole community.
Frankie McLister, WCCO News.
Minneapolis police are still investigating the break-in and burglary. If you have any information, give them a call. The center says it believes heated rhetoric motivated the vandals. Now, President Trump is commenting on social media. He wrote, quote, "a total fraud" on Truth Social, while also sharing a story by the New York Post.
Minnesota lawmakers are heading to D.C. next week to testify about the state's fraud crisis. The House Oversight Committee hearing with 3 Minnesota Republicans is slated for next Wednesday. Governor Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison were asked to testify at a second hearing February 10th. Neither confirmed they would attend in statements sent to us last night. Now, this is a story that continues to grow as new details come out. Count on WCCO to bring you the latest developments as we learn them on air and online at WCCO.com. High-end young talent. Macklin Celebrini gets a goal, but the Wild had a comeback in them. Matt Zuccarello tied it up with a third period goal, taking it to overtime and a shootout. But for the third time this season, the Sharks found a way to get 2 points over the Wild. Sharks take the win in a final shootout score 4-3. Now, while the Wild were away, their home ice is still getting plenty of views as USA took on Sweden in the World Juniors tournament.
That's right. The Group A title was on the line. Both teams will still play this weekend, but Bob Motzko's Team USA may need a different game plan if they meet again. Sweden took a 3-0 lead with a goal from Lucas Peterson. USA has not been very good defensively for 2 straight games. So when Sweden's Ivar Stenberg struck in the third period, it was all but over. Sweden wins 6-3. Now to the court, where the Timberwolves played the Atlanta Hawks.
And Anthony Edwards scored 30 points back home. But even with his grandpa in the stand, he left the game early. It was a rough game for the Wolves as the Hawks took over the court, in particular Jalen Johnson, who scored 34 points. So how bad was it? Well, with just over 7 minutes left, Edwards walked off the floor in the midst of a blowout. He was not available after the game to explain, and his head coach only said he should have remained on the bench with his team. Wolves lost 126-101. As we get ready to ring in a new year, it's common to look at it as a fresh start.
Yeah, kind of a moment to just reflect on what's helped us and what's kind of like weighed us down throughout the last year. In today's relationship reboot, Dr. Michael Walker is here to help us look at ways we can start our year lighter, healthier, and more connected.
Thank you for being here. Let's start with why transitions like New Year's Eve matter.
Yeah, well, you know, they call these, in the research, they call it a temporal landmark moment. And it's basically just saying that this is a time we can kind of reflect, we can start things new, we can recommit, you know, increase motivation. And so it's really important that we do that. And so these moments like New Year's Eve, birthdays, anniversaries, those are all kind of temporal landmark moments. And so the key to this is really saying that, you know, it's inviting us to really reflect and not just setting a goal. Like goals are okay to do, but we need to reflect on what we have done and how we want to move move forward with that, because habits are much better than just setting a goal, because that's how you actually accomplish that goal, is by sticking with your habits that you create.
And a habit that you have talked about is bringing positivity forward. Exactly what does that mean?
Yeah, well, sometimes, we can get stuck in ruts. In our family this year, we've had a tough time with the loss of many people in our family, relatives. And so that can kind of have you in this rut moment. And so you're thinking about, how can I bring positivity into the new year? Because like I'll say, I was ready to get done with 2025. And so for me, it's not about just being consistent, like just saying constant happiness. It's more about saying, how can I ensure emotional safety? How can I make sure I'm repairing and being consistent with the relationships that I have? And so we know that the research tells us that strong relationships start or are built on appreciation and affirmation of each other. It's about, how do I repair conflict when it presents itself, and then how can I show up and be emotional presence for those that need it in times of toughness for families.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about relationships, what are some things you might want to leave behind in 2025, and what are some of the things that we're going to want to bring into the new year?
Yeah, this is a thing that we're doing this year with our family, that we're talking about something we're going to carry forward and something we're going to leave behind, like I was kind of sharing. And when we think about building on positivity, so something that carry forward is, we're thinking about like what practices or actions that we did that brought connections to our family this year. Was it around a shared meal? Was it just check-ins, or how we're connecting? What were some communication habits that really worked well for us, even if they were not perfect, right? Sometimes they're not always going to be perfect, but what worked? The key to this is, what are some boundaries that we utilize that helped us protect our emotional health, right? So those things are things that can help us bring and carry forward positivity into 2026. Now, when we think about some of the things to leave behind, I've done some segments throughout the year around like resentment and things that were never addressed, right? Having unrealistic expectations of our partners or other friends and families that we may work with. The other one that really stands out to me is, folks, sometimes we have this ability to want to be people pleasers. And so how has that burned us out, and how can we leave some of those things behind? And so there could be other things that you leave behind. Maybe there's roles that you have within your family that you have just outgrown. Sometimes we are the fixer or the peacekeeper in our family, and that can be draining on us. And so maybe we want to leave that behind in 2025 and take on some new roles.
And it sounds like communication with those kinds of things is key when it comes to all of this. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and giving us all that great relationship advice about how we should really start the new year lighter with our loved ones.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day.
Good afternoon. I'm Maria Lizignoli. This is WCCO's 4 Things to Know podcast.
Catch up on the day's top stories with Minnesota's most watched news source. Whether you're on the go or only have a few minutes to spare, we're here.
January, February, March stories, and it seemed like they were basically a year ago.
Literally.
But there
It's fun to look back,
so
though.
many good things. The one that I pointed out was the Northern Lights. It wasn't necessarily a news story, but those Northern Lights were insane that we had not too long ago, and where everybody in the cities could see it. So it just felt like it was a good conversation.
It felt like a once-in-a-lifetime moment to see the Northern Lights in the middle of the city.
Without your camera, like you could just sit there and do it. So that was like my most memorable, I would say, moment. And I think for a lot of people, I mean, it was just so cool. I'm still looking back at photos and be like, whoa, I can't believe that was
saw that in real life.
right here downtown. You could see. So that was so really
cool.
super cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely, I love that one. One that really stood out to me was the toaster tree story. Do you remember that one? It's in Sedan, Minnesota. John Lauritsen did this story. It started with a guy had a toaster that just didn't work, went haywire. He's like, I'm gonna get rid of this thing anyway.
Throw it in the tree.
But there was this crazy snowstorm, and there are these huge drifts. And so he's like, I kind of want to remember how high these drifts were.
Oh my gosh.
So he tied the toaster to the tree at the top of the drift just to see how it melted in this, summer.
That was so
And then
cool.
it stayed. And then community members started putting their toasters up on the tree as well.
Isn't that funny?
And it's just this.
And that's been for years and years and years, right? Like 20-some years.
27 years, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That was a John
27 years ago.
Lauritsen story.
Yeah,
right?
Finding Minnesota.
Yeah, if you
Another
haven't
good
seen
one.
that, it is, that grabs your
It's a
attention.
good one.
That's something you don't see every day. Is a bunch of
whoa, just
toasters,
like,
kitchen appliances tied up in a tree.
Birds, squirrels.
Yeah, living in the
but like toasters.
Toasters, not so much. Oh man, mine that really stuck out to me. I mean, I was a dancer growing up, so anything with the U of M dance team. Just love to see them shine
every year.
And they had the coolest turnout before they went to the ICU, repping Team USA World Championships, and 4,500 people showed up, and they were expecting, you know, like 1,000 people, but people showed up to cheer on the Gophers, and man, they are just such an incredible team.
Their routines are insane. Yes,
insane. Yeah. So that was definitely one that comes up in my mind as a dance fan. So many though to choose from. It's hard to pick one out of the whole year.
Yeah, but the dance ones, they always rock. You're right.
They do.
You know, we have good questions here on WCCO, and one that we all commented on was the cure for hiccups.
For hiccups,
Yep.
Oh man,
I didn't know
found
that.
A cure.
I know.
Well, you always hear so many different ways.
Right.
You're like, oh, you hold your breath. You know,
get the scare.
Get scared. You know,
upside
pat
down
'em on the back, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you're like, we're constantly looking for.
Okay, the cure. Let me just tell you before we go.
Yes.
Breathing in, keeping your throat open. It's best to open your mouth 30 seconds, and then slowly breathing out. That should cure it.
There you go.
That
We'll have to test the theory.
I know, right?
Man.
Well, many people probably rang in the new year with a glass of champagne or other spirits, but now they might be hanging it up.
Yeah, today is the start to dry January, a month where many people aim to go without any alcohol. So according to researchers at Brown University School of Public Health, millions of people are expected to take part in this challenge globally. Have you guys ever done dry January?
No.
No, I've never done dry January.
Yeah. But it's, you know, I know it's increasingly popular. So many people are
saying goodbye
not
to
just
alcohol.
dry, but like just becoming sober in general. And it's the younger people, which I kind of it's interesting. It's just different from when we were
growing
you
up.
know, younger.
Yeah, it was like a weekend activity.
Yeah,
totally. Once you get into like college, you know,
absolutely.
Still is. So I'm surprised that they're doing that as well. But
I think it's a good challenge.
It is. And there's so many great mocktails. We've been doing mocktails on the shows recently. I mean, they're just growing and growing. So you can find something that you like.
Totally.
The part that I kind of find a little humorous is that they call it a challenge. It's like it's a challenge to do it.
It is a challenge.
It's a challenge.
I've tried and failed.
Finding your it can be.
But it's one of those things you don't realize maybe how hard it is until you start doing it, and you're like, oh my gosh, this really is such a thing that you do in social outings, and it becomes a little more difficult. But it's funny you bring up the challenge thing, because that's one of the reasons why people are drawn to this is they seek the personal challenge. Of course, you know, health benefits.
Of course.
And it's really, I mean, there's a lot of health benefits. Some people just are curious about it and want to start the year
curious
healthy. Yes.
They call it.
Exactly.
It's a good name.
It is a good name. It is. I was curious about how to do it, really, like what are the best ways to get started in it. And so a clinical psychologist that CBS News talked to said 3 ways, best ways to start: check in with yourself, identify reasons why you drink, why you, you know, what it makes you feel, and try to find alternatives to achieve those feelings or objectives, you know, without alcohol. 2,
so look internally there.
Look internally.
Okay.
Yeah, look internally. 2, stock up on non-alcoholic options. Make sure that you have those not only in your own home, but when you go out. You know, bring a pop when you go to your party or something like that, just in case, just so you have something. And then 3, you know, we look internally. Now it's externally. Communicate your plans.
Hey guys.
Yeah. Hey. Communicate your plans.
Just so you know, when we do this Friday night.
Sometimes it's your peers that really pressure you.
You're just trying to.
You're like, oh, I don't want to drink without you.
Flow together.
Exactly. So I mean, understanding those, you know, I felt a little bit better about. Oh, maybe I actually could do this.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Another thing too, you know, doctors are saying is it doesn't have to necessarily be a dry January. You can try a damp January, or you know, just keep it to just certain days of the week where you have that, and
or like certain occasions.
Great health benefits. So.
Okay, well,
There you go.
There you go. If you are going out to do anything today, what should people expect? We can see it behind us.
Yeah.
Snow is coming down.
Yeah, snow's been
Another
coming down
slow
here for a
go.
little while. You know, it's going to be a little slippery here probably for the next couple of hours, and it's still cold outside, so roads may be icy in some spots, especially in some of those areas outside of the cities where didn't get a good handle on the roads maybe from earlier this week. So just go a little bit slower. This is the view actually outside of our station right here. That's Nicollet right there, and you know, a lot of buses travel on this road and a lot of people on, you know, foot and bike. But obviously, we got a little something through the overnight and into this morning. And for us here at our station, it started to pick up more so 7:30 or 8. But some of you had snow well before the sun came up. But this is the view outside. It's going to be a little snowy. It will wrap up around midday. In fact, it's already kind of pushing down to the southeast out of here. But if you're in Pierce County, if you're in some of our counties in western Wisconsin, you'll hold on to the snow a little bit longer. With the cold air that's moving on through, it's just not going to get out very quickly, so I'm expecting it to be cold for a few days here. What I mean by that is like 10, 15 degrees below average for our high temperatures. We should climb out of that as we head into the weekend as warmer weather starts to move on in. I have no heavy-hitting snowstorms moving through. Maybe more of this, where we just get this coating of snow, half an inch, maybe inch and a half. And that's it, all right? And I see something on maybe Sunday for us as far as that conversation goes. There you go, though. Down through the bluffs of the Mississippi, that snow is really coming down still. Where it's drying up is more so out west, northwest, where we haven't had any problems has been in that southwest corridor of the state, where it has been basically dry throughout the morning hours and will remain that way. So our snow will slow down this afternoon, as I mentioned. So we are pretty much done with that snow chance, but we have nothing on Friday. I don't see a lot on Saturday. Our next big one is probably more so going to be on Sunday. And when I say our next big one, it's just another like consistent look at snow, and that's likely going to impact east central Minnesota into western Wisconsin. For the month of December, we wrapped up at 16 inches of snow. The last few years we haven't had much, but we did pretty good as we kind of kicked off the 20s there. 2021 was our big one at 21.5 inches, but pretty good dose of snow for us. As I mentioned, everything clears out. We get some dry time tonight, and tomorrow we finally break the pattern. Yes, it will be cold, but we won't see snow in the morning, all right? The last time that happened was, I believe, Monday, but that was, yeah, a big day where we were cleaning up from Sunday's snow. All right, so we get up to 32 degrees on Monday, and I think we stay in the 30s for like 5 days or so. So enjoy the snow now, because I think we're going to have some melting going on next week. We'll talk more about what we can expect on Sunday coming up in my full forecast at 9:45.
Okay, so next week might be the time to take down outdoor holiday lights,
good
maybe.
point. Yeah.
If it's a little warmer. Yeah.
If you want to get rid of them.
Okay,
Cool. Thanks, Joseph. Well, if you've started taking down your Christmas tree, maybe your house is feeling a little bare, but new year, new plants. Bachman's has a look at what's good to grow right now. To start to take down some of your holiday decor, you might feel like your house is a little empty.
It's such a weird feeling,
I know.
right? So we caught up with Bachman's for some tips to bring plants into your life for the new year. Now, everyone in this video is okay. St. Paul police say a suspected car thief started shooting at them on a highway ramp last week. They returned fire, hitting him in the leg. The suspect now faces assault charges.
And we're kicking off the new year just really stinking cold. And it's a little bit of a repeat of days past because we're getting more snow today, Joseph?
Yeah, snow in the morning. It's just been the theme for the last like 3 or 4 days. And it hasn't been a lot, but you've noticed over the last couple of mornings that it's enough to maybe slow down things and cause some traffic. So if you happen to be heading out today through the morning hours, basically now till about 11 a.m. or so, you may be dealing with some snow, and it's been coming down north and west of us and even down to the east. So we're kind of in a bubble right now. We're kind of avoiding it around Hennepin County. Temperatures single digits below zero up north. Cary showing off in Egan at 10 degrees right now. Highs today topping off about 13, so we're not going to get much warmer than where we're standing right now. I basically mentioned every direction from the cities is getting some snow. for the exception of south and southwest. So if you're going down towards Mankato into the Minnesota River Valley, you're missing out on this one. This is going to be along the 94 corridor and basically areas north all the way up to about Duluth and some of the counties up to the north, and then into the Minnesota Bluffs right there, or the Mississippi Bluffs, I should say. And that's going to be where this line of snow continues to track for the morning, all right? So if you're down southwest, you're not going to get much more than what you already have on the ground right now, because this is going to dodge you. Snow depths today, these numbers update each morning and into the afternoon, so waiting on some updates, but many of you see probably double digits as far as snow depth goes on the ground because we've had multiple rounds of snow recently. This system right here is probably going to throw down another ½ an inch to an inch to the snow depth around the area, and not anything significant. I have no heavy hitting snowstorms coming up, but we have these kind of nuisance storms, we'll call them. Tomorrow morning, though, I will be saying we're cutting it off. And I don't have anything in the forecast for our Friday. It looks like it's going to be on the dry side as we work through our Friday forecast. As I mentioned, generally about less than an inch in the forecast with this system moving on through. We warm up nicely for the weekend, up to about 27 on Sunday with another chance for some snow around here. It's also going to be on the low side. And then we clear it all out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at that. Ladies, in the 30s, 32 degrees Monday, but mid-30s with sunshine on Wednesday.
New this morning, an investigation is underway after a woman was found stabbed to death in Sawyer County, Wisconsin.
The county sheriff tells us they found the woman Monday afternoon in a home in the town of Radisson, which is about an hour and a half north of Eau Claire. Deputies identified the victim as a 61-year-old woman and arrested a suspect in the case. That man is now in Sawyer County Jail for first-degree intentional homicide.
Shocking new video shows the danger police recently encountered on duty.
Get the driver. Get the driver. Jacket. Get the driver. Get the driver. Go, go, go. Oh, shit!
I'll tell you, everyone in that video is okay. St. Paul police say a suspected car thief started shooting at them on a highway ramp last week. They returned fire, hitting him in the leg. The suspect now faces assault charges.
New state data now out shows more than 850 people applied for Minnesota's new paid leave program so far. We told you yesterday morning that applications are now open, and as you saw, there are hundreds looking to use that new benefit.
Ashley Grams breaks down who the program helps and what the state says is being done to protect from fraud.
Any Minnesotan who needs to take leave in 2026 can fill out their application now on our website.
Minnesota's paid family and medical leave program opened Wednesday. It allows employees partial pay for medical reasons to bond with a newborn baby or to care for a family member. Leave is capped at 20 weeks a year.
Also want to underscore that we've built the program with strong integrity measures built in.
Program leaders talking through some points of verification, like validating an applicant's identity.
Every leave has to be certified by a medical or appropriate provider. So there is that layer of verification that every leave must be signed off on by a certified professional.
Just last month, program leaders sat before the Minnesota House Fraud Prevention and Oversight Policy Committee.
Can you share with the committee what fraud Deed is anticipating?
If you are who you say you are you telling us the truth, right? And that's the next layer of controls that I think we've tried to talk about.
Republicans have long been critical of the program that passed during a DFL majority.
It is our strong hope that the internal controls in this program are robust and followed, because we do not want to be back here a year from now having a fraud hearing.
As of Wednesday, the state approved just over 4,000 applications. Just over 2,000 were denied or canceled. A spokesperson saying often applicants are denied because documentation wasn't provided or the applicant's employer offers an equivalent plan.
Program integrity is absolutely critical to the paid leave program. It's the way that we built the program.
Ashley Grams, WCCO News.
The program is funded by a payroll tax increase split between employers and employees. As the new year begins, the paid leave benefit is not the only new addition from Minnesota's legislature.
There are several new laws taking effect today. First, a change to your absentee ballot. If you're applying online, you will now need to provide both a driver's license or state ID and the last four of your social security number, unless you can certify that you do not have one of those numbers.
Also starting today, if you are mailing an absentee ballot application or a sample ballot, you must include the following statement in a way that is clearly visible when the mailing is opened. Quote, "This mailing is not an official election communication form from a unit of government. This, either absentee ballot or sample, has not been included at the request of a government official." If a sample ballot is enclosed, the statement must also include the following: "This is a sample ballot, not an official ballot. You cannot cast the enclosed sample ballot."
There is also a change to breaks at work. Workers will now be allowed, quote, a 15-minute break for every 4 consecutive hours you work. Current laws were just, quote, adequate time. Also, a 30-minute meal break needs to be given for every 6 hours worked. The current requirement is sufficient time to eat. Countries around the world said goodbye to 2025 overnight. Many rang in the new year with a spectacular display of lights, fireworks, music, while some nations also somberly remembered lives lost to recent tragedies.
Here in the U.S., millions gathered to ring in the nation's 250th anniversary year. CBS News' Kamal Afzali is in London with a look at the festivities from around the globe.
A stunning fireworks show over Sydney to ring in the new year. An hour before, crowds fell silent to honour the 15 victims of last month's deadly shooting attack at Bondi Beach. Hong Kong said goodbye to 2025 with a scaled-back celebration, a month after a tragic high-rise fire killed more than 150 people. In Beijing, revelers braved sub-zero temperatures at China's Great Wall to watch a light show count down to 2026. Light and fireworks lit up the skies from Dubai to Egypt's pyramids, from the Arc de Triomphe in Paris to the Thames River in London. But at Kyiv's Independence Square, lights were dimmed at midnight for a nation still at war as Ukraine enters a 4th year since Russia's full-scale invasion. Across the Atlantic in the US, Americans from sea to shining sea ushered in the nation's 250th anniversary year. The iconic crystal ball over New York's Times Square was lit up red, white and blue to commemorate the milestone.
We're doing great as a country. We're back.
President Trump played up his first year back in office, welcoming 2026 at a New Year's Eve party at Mar-a-Lago. While in the nation's capital, images celebrating the country's history were projected onto the Washington Monument. Kamal Afzali, CBS News, London.
And that light show projecting images onto the Washington Monument in D.C. is scheduled to last for 6 days.
And as millions celebrated the new year at Times Square, a new leader was being sworn in underground in New York. Last night, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani was sworn in as New York City's 111th mayor during a private underground ceremony. Mamdani officially took his oath of office at the decommissioned Old City Hall subway station just before the clock struck midnight when the transfer of power becomes official. The 34-year-old Democratic Socialist is now the city's first Muslim mayor and its first of South Asian descent. Mamdani will publicly take the oath of office administered by U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders later this afternoon. Double-digit gains is relatively rare. It's only happened 5 times since the 1940s. And the Postal Service has a warning for you. Your mail might not get postmarked the same day you drop it off. A new rule clarifies a postmark doesn't necessarily reflect the date the Postal Service accepted possession of it. Postmarks are applied at regional mail processing hubs, but a Postal Service overhaul has eliminated multiple daily trips between post offices and those hubs. Officials say customers can still bring their mail to the post office and ask for a manual postmark if they need a day of date stamp.
In Health Watch this morning, new numbers show the flu is surging in Minnesota. The state health department says nearly 2,000 patients have been hospitalized so far. That is more than triple the number at this point last winter. We're also seeing a big spike in school outbreaks, 176 this year compared to just 23 this time last year. The CDC says Minnesota is one of several states in the very high category for flu levels. Doctors say you can protect yourself by washing your hands and getting vaccinated.
Minnesota is known for its strong culture of volunteerism, and we know we need it more in the new year, too.
And our AJ Hilton visited a local food bank that really could use a few extra hands to help all our neighbors in 2026.
Hey friends, we are here outside on St. Paul's East Side. This is Beret Community Services. We know the need is so great right now when it comes to food donations. They do two things here, and there's a great way for you to get involved. Come inside, I'll show you around. So the room we're in now, it used to be a room full of groceries. Now, Merrick has had to actually switch their model because they actually had to lay off a couple of people. So this room is now empty. Let me show you what they're doing to help people instead. So here we are, we moved to the food shelf. Let me show you guys inside. So they've actually had to move to a different model because that area over there closed. Let me bring in Joshua, who oversees this entire operation, who can talk about exactly what's happening.
So the food system itself, like Second Harvest, Heartland, and the food group, who are great partners of ours, they've had less products and less things to offer, and so we've had less to give. And so donations are vital now because we don't have things that we used to be able to have.
I mentioned there are two parts of this program. Let me show you the other part. This is the Meals on Wheels kitchen, which is a vital service for seniors in need. So in these freezers right here, they've got all the frozen food that they actually deliver right here. Let me introduce you to the coordinator who can talk more about this program. This is Tim, who can talk about this, the vital need for volunteers as well. Tim, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Talk about volunteering and why it is so important for volunteers right now.
Well, volunteering is super important for the program because that's the only way we're going to be able to get the meals that these people need to their homes in a safe manner, in a timely manner. Sometimes this is the only time people see people throughout the week, throughout the day. Sometimes the only time they ever get to see anybody, period. So volunteering is super important so that people can remain independent, stay in their homes, especially when we're getting colder, the snow's falling, it's getting really hard for people to go outside.
One final note here at Beret Community Services, they are always looking for food donations. However, if you are going to make a food donation, whether it be at Beret, whether it be at Second Harvest, make sure you're donating food that's not going to expire in, say, 2 or 3 days. Donate food that's going to expire in 4 or 5 months' time. That way they can actually use the food. Now here at Merrick, they have a lot of culturally sensitive food as well, so it's a good time to make that donation. Whether it's with your money, whether it's with your time, volunteering, every little bit helps, especially as we move into 2026 when we all need each other.
We do. Thanks, AJ. You can learn more about Merrick Community Services and volunteer opportunities for you or your business. All that at merrickcs.org/volunteer.
And we're kicking off the new year just really stinking cold. And it's a little bit of a repeat of days past because we're getting more snow today, Joseph?
Yeah, snow in the morning. It's just been the theme for the last like 3 or 4 days. And it hasn't been a lot, but you've noticed over the last couple of mornings that it's enough to maybe slow down things and cause some traffic. So if you happen to be heading out today through the morning hours, basically now till about 11 a.m. or so, you may be dealing with some snow, and it's been coming down north and west of us and even down to the east. So we're kind of in a bubble right now. We're kind of avoiding it around Hennepin County. Temperatures single digits below zero up north. Cary showing off in Egan at 10 degrees right now. Highs today topping off about 13, so we're not going to get much warmer than where we're standing right now. I basically mentioned every direction from the cities is getting some snow, for the exception of south and southwest. So if you're going down towards Mankato into the Minnesota River Valley, you're missing out on this one. This is going to be along the 94 corridor and basically areas north all the way up to about Duluth and some of the counties up to the north, and then into the Minnesota Bluffs right there, or the Mississippi Bluffs, I should say. And that's going to be where this line of snow continues to track for the morning, all right? So if you're down southwest, you're not going to get much more than what you already have on the ground right now, because this is going to dodge you. Snow depth today, these numbers update each morning and into the afternoon, so waiting on some updates, but many of you see probably double digits as far as snow depth goes on the ground because we've had multiple rounds of snow recently. This system right here is probably going to throw down another ½ an inch to an inch to the snow depth around the area, and not anything significant. I have no heavy hitting snowstorms coming up, but we have these kind of nuisance storms, we'll call them. Tomorrow morning, though, I will be saying we're cutting it off. And I don't have anything in the forecast for our Friday. It looks like it's going to be on the dry side as we work through our Friday forecast. As I mentioned, generally about less than an inch in the forecast with this system moving on through. We warm up nicely for the weekend, up to about 27 on Sunday with another chance for some snow around here. It's also going to be on the low side. And then we clear it all out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at that. Ladies, in the 30s, 32 degrees Monday, but mid-30s with sunshine on Wednesday.
Answered questions from a CNN crew in town working to verify his claims. Take a listen.
Surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a daycare.
It should be a reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
Their doors are locked. And so, okay, you bring up a fair point. Then why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
Minnesota lawmakers are heading to D.C. next week to testify about the state's fraud crisis. The House Oversight Committee hearing with 3 Minnesota Republicans is slated for next Wednesday. Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison were asked to testify at a second hearing February 10th. Neither confirmed they would attend in statements sent to us last night. This is a story that continues to grow. As new details come out, count on WCCO to bring you the latest developments as we learn them on air and online at WCCO.com.
Shocking new video shows the danger police recently encountered on duty.
Get the driver. Get the driver. Jacket. Get the driver. Get the driver. Go, go, go. Oh, shit!
Now, everyone in that video is okay. St. Paul police say a suspected car thief started shooting at them on a highway ramp last week. They returned fire, hitting him in the leg. The suspect now faces assault charges.
9:03 on this New Year's Day. Let's check in with next weather meteorologist Joseph Dames as the snow is coming down here in the metro.
Hey, this is 3 mornings in a row.
Yeah,
2026, and we're starting off with snow. That's been the story just about all week. Honestly, going back to Sunday when we had that big snowstorm that moved on in. It's going to be a light, fluffy snow this time around, though, with temperatures quite cold out there. You may be able to blow some of that away with a leaf blower, but for the most part, you might have to get that shovel out really quickly because you'll probably get about an inch, maybe a little bit more up to the northeast. Most of the snow that really started to ramp up around 8 a.m. around downtown, but way earlier up to the north and northwest, is on its way out down to the southeast. I still think we have another hour, hour and a half before things really slow down. But if you're in Mankato, it's dry. If you're in Marshall, it's dry. And if you're up north, you might just see some light snow right now coming out of Brainerd. Temperatures in the single digits, but it feels colder. Yeah, I mean, it's not a strong wind around the cities right now, but it's enough to shave it down to about 2 below here in the cities. So if you do have to head out, maybe take the dog for a walk or run out for a little bit, just make sure you're bundling up. Okay, I told you we'd see some snow totals. Here's some of the reports that we're getting back from the Weather Watcher now. We're about 1 inch to 1.5 inches there. You can see Jerry and Jean there coming out of Roberts coming in at 1.5 inches. The rest of the day should be more so on the dry side, but it will stay cold. We'll finally break the pattern tomorrow. I actually have some dry time in the forecast. We'll bring back some sunshine tomorrow as well. So tomorrow we just kind of stay quiet, but I have some warmer temperatures in the forecast and another chance for snow this weekend. I'll break that all down in 10 minutes.
More snow, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joseph. New state data shows more than 850 people applied for Minnesota's new paid leave program so far. Applications opened yesterday. The program is funded by a payroll tax increase split between employers and employees. As a new year begins, the paid leave benefit is not the only addition from Minnesota's legislature.
There are several new laws taking effect today. First, a change to your absentee ballot if you're applying online. You will now need to provide both a Minnesota driver's license or state state ID and the last 4 of your social security number, unless you can certify that you do not have one of those numbers.
Also starting today, if you are mailing an absentee ballot application or sample ballot, you must include the statement that you see on your screen now in a way that is clearly visible when the mailing is opened.
If a sample ballot is enclosed, the statement must also include the following: this is a sample ballot, not an official ballot. You cannot cast the enclosed sample ballot.
There's also a change to breaks at work. Workers will now be allowed, quote, a 15-minute break for every 4 consecutive hours you work. Current laws just, quote, adequate time. Also, a 30-minute meal break needs to be given for every 6 hours worked. The current requirement is sufficient time to eat.
A lot of people probably home from work today.
Yes.
Maybe a good day to watch a movie. With this new year, we have a new top dog Disney movie. Well, I guess more top Fox and Rabbit.
Yeah, that's right. Zootopia 2 is now Disney Animation's highest grossing movie in history, taking the top spot from Frozen 2. So the movie premiered in late November. It's already brought in $1.46 billion. Have you guys seen that one?
I haven't seen it. No, I didn't even see the first one.
Oh, I saw the first one. It was very cute.
Yeah, it is cute. I didn't realize it was that popular where it would like overtake Frozen, which I thought was just like a massive
That's a
hit.
big
But
faves.
they're all good. All those animation films are just fantastic.
They're so great.
Do you have a favorite?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
hard.
I like the old ones.
Me too.
Like the Lion King.
Lion King.
Toy Story was like really iconic
Tarzan.
characters.
Mulan was a favorite as a kid. Little Mermaid. I mean, we could keep going.
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, exactly. Out of the newer ones, I guess, Frozen, like we said, love that one. Encanto, love that one.
Cool.
Moana.
Yeah. I love the ones that you can appreciate as an adult too. Got lots of
humor.
Yes, exactly. Lots of nieces and nephews, and we've been watching a few recently, and I'm like, okay, this still holds up. This is a great
The
one.
one that I always thought was quite trippy as a kid was Fantasia.
Yeah.
That one was so funky.
That was wild.
I was like, I don't know what I'm watching here as a kid, but all right.
But I like it.
So we want to know what your favorite Disney animated film is for your feedback. Are you fans of the princess movies? Maybe The Jungle Book, Alice in Wonderland. There's so many, right? So we want you to send your thoughts in by going to our WCCO Facebook page. We'll share some of your feedback later on in the show. Well, 2025 had its highs and lows, but it's also brought us stories of wonder, curiosity, and community.
Coming up, we look back on some stories that we all remember for being fun and maybe a little quirky. And January 1st is a great time for a fresh start. Millions will challenge themselves to Dry January, the benefits and how people might be giving it a try.